Let's look at some college baseball stuff here. I mean, there's a lot of awesome stuff that happened in the regular season. So a couple things that I'll touch on. I know we have a lot of postseason, or I guess regular season awards, player of the years, things like that. So I'll let you guys kind of touch on that stuff. But Northern Illinois, just wanted to shout them out. They finished the year 31-17 and 21-12 in the MAC. So big year for the Huskies. Illinois Chicago didn't have the best overall record. They were under 500, but they ended up winning the regular season Missouri Valley. They were the champions of the Missouri Valley in the regular season. They were 16-8, so that's a big year for them. Southern Illinois, they went 14-10 in the Missouri Valley. Illinois State, they finished 33-22 overall. They went 13-11 in the Valley. And then Braden Bakes, he won the Missouri Valley batting title, hit 396 on the year. And then he also over the last weekend, he became Illinois State's all-time single-season hit leader. He passed Owen Miller, who broke the record previously in 2018, and Owen went on to play in the big leagues with the Brewers for a while. And I don't know if he's in the majors right now. He might be in AAA. I don't know for sure. But he's a pro guy. But it was the most regular season wins for the Redbirds since 2013. Southern Illinois Edwardsville, 32-22 on the year, and then 19-7 in conference. They were regular season champions in the OVC. And then Eastern Illinois, 31-19 and 18-9 overall. So some good stuff here from Illinois programs. But I know you guys got some other notes here to add as well.
Just to touch on Owen Miller, he's in AAA right now, Gavin, with the Cubs, actually. I didn't realize that. So as you were talking, I had to look him up. And yeah, so, I mean, Braden's he's beat out a lot of really good hitters that have come through Illinois State, because you got Paul DeYoung that worked his way through there a few years ago as well. So that's pretty high praise there for Braden, and awesome to hear. I mean, one thing that stood out to me is a guy we talked about all the time throughout the year, but Ryan Nedved shared the OVC Player of the Year award. And I think it was the first time since in a long time that an SIU Edwardsville player had won that award. So huge shout out to him, West Aurora alum. Another guy we talked about a bunch was Aiden Flynn, freshman at Illinois, and he was a second team All Big Ten selection there. One that really stands out to me is a guy that I remember seeing him as a sophomore for Downers Grove North. It was a freezing game, and Brady Lauk was on the mound for Plainfield East. And I go to watch Plainfield East, Downers Grove North, and Janicki's hitting in the 3-hole catching. But Jimmy Janicki won the Sun Belt Player of the Year for Troy, catching down there for Troy as a sophomore. But he was the Player of the Year in that conference. Former Future Gamer, Super 60 guy. So huge shout out to Jimmy Janicki. EIU had a couple Illinois, first team All OVC selections in Chris Worcester and Mike O'Connor. And I know I'm butchering that Worcester last name, and it might be like the sauce. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but Chris went to Lake Park. Mike O'Connor was another one. He was a Notre Dame College Prep alum. And then Easton Harris was a two-way prospect for me out of Central Illinois down there. And I think he two-wayed a little bit for SIUE and kind of turned into a stopper, closer, high leverage reliever for SIU Edwardsville. But he was a first-team relief pitcher there for SIU Edwardsville as well.
Well, we just got Jack Lausch, third team All Big Ten over at Northwestern. Hit .312 on the year with 16 bombs, 13 doubles, 4 triples, and 41 RBIs. So heck of a year for him. Like I mentioned, in past podcasts, one of my favorite stories with, being their quarterback and not even playing baseball for a couple of years there. So just speaks to the athlete that he is, really.
I mean, he's a stud. 16 home runs on the year, because the thing about Jack was he could float. He was a high level athlete that was one of the better center fielders that's come through the area in a long time. To hit for that kind of power with that kind of athlete, that's what pro guys are going to be looking for. He's got to firmly be on a lot of lists here. I'll be excited to see kind of when his name gets called in the draft coming up. there's some other local flavor, like in the Big Ten, some guys that stood out to me. One is Kyle Olivo. He's at Iowa. He's not an Illinois prospect. He's a Wisconsin prospect, but his dad, Joe Olivo, Pete, I mean, you've been, communicating and working with Joe here for a while, but Joe's been a mainstay up at the Rock with Rock tournaments, and he's, in the mix now with prep baseball. And Kyle is his son. Kyle was a future gamer. He was always a shortstop, right-handed pitcher with all kinds of ability, but he made the Big Ten all-freshman team, and reports have his fastball up to like 97 right now for Iowa. He's also getting some opportunities as a two-way guy, which is very, very rare in high-level baseball, especially the Big Ten. You do not see that very often, so shout out to Kyle Olivo. We're seeing you down here in Illinois. And then AJ Putty from Huntley. He's also in the Big Ten at Illinois. He made the all freshman team. He was on a tear, an absolute tear to start off the season. Good to see him, make that list as well. And then there's some high level prospects that have come through the state here that were making an impact in the SEC. I don't know who wants to rattle these guys off, but some Illinois guys doing their thing this year in the SEC.
I can hop in. Yeah, Tyler Bell out of Lincoln Way East over there at Kentucky. First team all SEC. I think the cool thing there is like he missed a good amount of time early in the year with a shoulder thing. So to see him come back and really pick up where he left off was awesome to see. I know he's a very buzzy name and for the draft this summer. So keep an eye out there. And then Jack Bauer and Cam Appenzeller both earned all freshman SEC. And then you got Tomas Valencius, first team all SEC over there at Mississippi State. And then I see somebody threw in Zion Rose here, earning first team all ACC for Louisville.
Which stood out to me too, because like Tyler Bell, he missed some time. So for guys that miss some time, like they must really be making an impact when they're out there. And I was just looking up Tyler Bell's stats. He had 347. 8 doubles, 6 home runs. He played in 36 games. A lot of guys on his team played in 51. But what really stood out to me with Tyler is he had 29 walks to 30 strikeouts playing in the SEC. So a 1-to-1 ratio there, and his OBP was 518. So he's getting on base a ton. I want to see what his hit by pitches were. He got hit by a pitch 16 times, tied for the lead with the team. And then also fielded 969 playing shortstop. So just high level stuff coming out of the Lincoln Way East product. And happy for Tyler, switch hitting shortstop that I know is one of the top college prospects in the country. Coach McDermott up there at UIC too. We maybe mentioned it, but won Coach of the Year in the Missouri Valley Conference. I know it's always hard for these northern schools, in my opinion, early on in the season. Because if you're at UIC, Northern Illinois, pretty much any school in Illinois, you are going on the road for the first month and a half of the year. Every single game you're playing on the road, you're the away team, you're traveling, you're not sleeping in your own bed. These southern schools that have these northern schools come down, like they're outside practicing for a good, couple weeks or a month, depending on the weather. And these northern schools come down, they haven't been outside and they get thrown into the fire. So UIC had a tough start to the year, really, really turned it around at the end. We're 16-8 in conference. And I think they won the number 1 seed going into that Missouri Valley Conference with a lot of good teams this year. So huge shout out there to Coach McDermott, winning Coach of the Year. You love to see that. And then you got Sean Lyons down there at SIUE winning it for the OVC as well. So yeah, just shout those guys out.
Yeah, 2 more things here. For Illinois Chicago, right-handed pitcher Mason Lee, a Freeport product, was first team Missouri Valley Conference, and he was a couple weeks back was named the pitcher of the week in the Missouri Valley. And then freshman Sean Cody, a Richards product, was honorable mention all MVC, and he also, the same week that Lee was the pitcher of the week, Cody was mentioned as the freshman of the week in the Valley. So a couple more notes there. But moving over to some high school news now. One thing before we get into the brackets, Carter Lippens, a 2027 at Dunlap, broke Dunlap's school record for most wins in a season I believe it was yesterday in their game against Metamora. He's now 9-0 on the year, which is a really impressive record in that Mid-Illini Conference. I mean, there's some really good teams in there. I know we've talked about that. So shout out to Carter for that.